Why reading a book is overrated. We've all heard it, right? If you want to get smarter, read more books. It's almost become a universal rule for self-improvement. But let's pause and think for a second. Is reading a book truly the best or only way to learn? Imagine this. You're trying to grasp a new concept. Maybe it's a business principle, a scientific idea, or something philosophical. A mentor or a friend casually tells you, just read a book about it. So you give it a try. But maybe it doesn't click. You find yourself rereading lines, struggling to focus, and feeling frustrated. Why is reading the one way we're told to learn when it doesn't even work for everyone? The thing is, not everyone's brain absorbs information the same way. Research shows that some of us are visual learners, where images and videos help us see the whole picture, making complex ideas instantly clearer. Others are auditory learners, where listening, whether it's a lecture, a podcast, or a conversation, makes ideas stick better. Then there are kinesthetic learners who need hands-on experience. So why should learning be one size fits all when our minds work so differently? Think about some of the most brilliant people in history. Many were natural readers, sure, but others relied on different methods. Einstein famously said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge," meaning he valued seeing possibilities and exploring ideas mentally rather than only absorbing printed words. Inventors and artists often learn by doing, creating, observing, and experiencing rather than strictly reading. So if reading isn't the ultimate answer, what are the other options? There are podcasts, documentaries, educational YouTube channels, online courses, and yes, audiobooks too. All these offer diverse, engaging ways to connect with knowledge. You can learn by hearing, seeing, or doing, not just by reading text on a page. Let's consider an example. Say you're interested in the history of ancient Rome. You could read a 500-page historical text. Great if you have the focus and patience. Or you could watch a detailed documentary, listen to a podcast series by a historian, or get the audiobook and immerse yourself in the story while on the go. Each method has its strengths, and none is better than the other. The key is that it's all about what clicks with you, and an audiobook can turn that long book into a story you listen to while you're driving or working out, keeping you engaged. And it's not just limited to history. Suppose you want to learn a practical skill, like improving your finances or developing emotional intelligence. For some, reading about it helps, but for others, it's better to listen to expert talks, watch breakdown videos, or even join a workshop. That's because, for many topics, seeing examples or hearing real stories helps connect ideas to real life. And here's another reason why reading might be overrated. Time. In today's fast-pacing world, time is precious. How many of us have started books that we never finished because life got in the way? Reading a long book is a commitment, and for many, it's just not feasible. Audiobooks and podcasts offer knowledge in a format that fits busy schedules. They can fill the gaps, commutes, workouts, or even household chores. Instead of carving out hours to sit down and read, you're absorbing information passively. Even for the topics we cover on this channel, Value Nexus, we understand that viewers don't have endless hours to read. That's why we create videos breaking down complex topics in simple, engaging ways so you can learn efficiently and effectively. We believe in helping you learn in the way that works best for you. And by subscribing to Value Nexus, you get well-researched, visually engaging content that might help you expand your knowledge faster and with more ease. Now let's take a look at learning styles again, because this is key. Visual learners process ideas by seeing them. They can better understand through images, charts, and video content. Auditory learners grasp concepts through sound, often remembering things they hear rather than things they see. So, if you're an auditory learner, forcing yourself to read a textbook might not make the information stick as much as a podcast or audiobook would. And kinesthetic learners, they learn by doing. If they want to understand how something works, reading a theory might not do the trick. Instead, hands-on experience is what will ingrain the knowledge. To make the most out of learning, it's all about leveraging your strengths. If you're a visual learner, consider watching documentaries, using YouTube channels like Value Nexus, or even finding infographics and visual resources to complement what you read. For auditory learners, audiobooks are a goldmine, and for those who learn by doing, pairing reading with hands-on projects can make all the difference. Now, let's talk about the social aspect of learning. Back in school, much of what we learned came from group projects, class discussions, and collaborating with others. But when we're told to just read a book, it's a solitary activity. There's no exchange of ideas, no feedback, and no real-time clarification of questions. Modern learning platforms, whether through online courses, discussion forums, or interactive apps, allow for a back-and-forth flow of ideas. So sometimes watching or listening with a group of people or having discussions is a more effective way to learn than reading alone. And think of how entertainment ties into learning too. You might remember a concept better if it's presented in an engaging way, rather than just reading about it in a dry text. That's why so many people learn through movies, podcasts, or even social media posts that break down complex topics. Sometimes the most memorable lessons come from entertaining, digestible formats, not thick, dense books. At the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves, what's more important, the method or the outcome? The whole point of learning is to grow, understand, and expand our minds. It doesn't matter if you're reading a book, listening to an audiobook, watching a documentary, or discussing ideas with friends. What matters is that the knowledge resonates with you. So let's rethink this idea that reading a book is the ultimate way to learn. It's one path out of many, and with today's resources, knowledge isn't limited to just one format. You don't have to force yourself to read if it doesn't work for you. Embrace the different ways to learn. Dive into a podcast, enjoy an audiobook, or watch a visually captivating documentary. Try out Value Nexus, where you can find topics broken down in ways that connect to the real world. So, yes, reading a book is good, but it's not the only way. Learn in the way that makes sense for you, because in the end, it's the learning that matters most, not just the method. And while we're talking about how we learn, here's something else that's vital to understand. Reading a book might be overrated, but the impact of climate change on your life, that's real. Click here to see how climate change is literally making you poor and what you can do about it.